Hey everyone, this is Snark with Snark's Domain, and I forgot to get the music going, so let me just see if I can find it here. Oh, that's not the right one. Music. I don't know if you guys like my music playlist, but it helps me relax a little bit, so we are going to try that. The music's... yeah, that should work out pretty good. Play cue. And we'll just get that on loop. Right. And we are back. So, today, I think I figured out a little bit more of my audio issues. NVIDIA Broadcast is a pretty powerful tool. And you don't want to crank it up to 100% noise removal, because it can cut out your voice. It can cut out music that you're trying to play within OBS. So, hey Andy, how's it going? Does the voice sound clear? And how does the music sound? I'm still trying to nail down this audio stuff, but I think it's hopefully better than it was. So just let me know what your thoughts are there. I would really appreciate it. So today we're going to be applying some of this MG Chemicals 422C Conformal Coating, which does some interesting stuff in UV light. You can kind of see a bit of a glowing there. We'll play with that in a little bit. But first, we've got to get this card apart and remove some of that 8 watt per meter Kelvin CX-H1300 that we tested. Oh. Okay. No issues whatsoever, but no music. Man. Oh, you know what? I think. How's that? Do you guys hear the music now? Hopefully. And hopefully not too loud. I don't want to blow out your ears or anything. And welcome to the stream, Evan Bunch. Glad to have you aboard. So I figured out that I had NVIDIA Broadcast noise suppression cranked to 100% setting. And I also had the echo setting applied. And it just kind of like cut out the audio. Awesome. I'm really glad it's working. I feel like I'm gradually getting there with the audio. It's like a week or two ago I was watching an old video of mine and the audio quality was like terrible. With this current setting, I'm using some filters that I kind of tweaked a little bit based on what someone on YouTube that does audio stuff was saying. But the only problem I was having, I think, was overkill for noise suppression. Okay, so this, we just cracked this open here. Let me get a close up here. This is the... is that going to be good enough, eh? We'll go to close-up cam. Gummy stuff. Oh, cool. Well, you can still see the machine lines on the cold plate. In that bottom area there? Yeah, that would have been where it was lapped down with the mill, I assume. Hey, Alvidas Choco Baskas. What's up, man? You can hear me twice. Oh. Sorry about that. My close-up cam. Let me just double check here. Okay, we should be good now. Sorry guys, I accidentally had 2 of the microphones activated. Let me know if it's still doubled or not. It's good. Okay, I'm like hesitant to delete the other one because that's my fail-safe for when the audio messes up. If that happens, I'm thinking we might actually have nailed this though and got it figured out. So this putty is not the same as the 13 watt. So this is the first one I tested, a 13 watt, a 13 and a half, right? And that's what had great results. And then I bought some off Amazon, and I wasn't paying close enough attention, and I didn't see that they'd checkmarked the that box. And so we tested it, and it is not anywhere close to the performance of the 13.5 watt stuff. So it sucks because it's on Amazon and it's so accessible, but I would not recommend the 8 watt stuff. I would totally recommend the 13.5. That stuff is great putty. It is like right up there, neck and neck with another great putty, but this 13.5 stuff happens to be currently quite a bit cheaper. So in my opinion, it's a great buy. Okay, you know what's interesting here? We noticed a pattern when we did the JE 8100 teardown, and can you guys see the that little, like, I don't know what I want to call it, but maybe a bake pattern? Let's see if I can get a little pointer tool. What do I want to use here? We'll use a thermal grizzly spreader. So that little rectangular shape, I think we've basically figured out that that is where the actual memory chip is located. So these memory chips are not the full size, right? Or they must not be. But at the very least, the hot part is in that little center area. That doesn't measure much. It looks a little bit like 15/16, or if we're talking in millimeters, maybe 7 millimeters wide by, I'm just going to guess here, 1 centimeter long. About, which is that in inches? Is that 3/8? Is 10 mils, I believe? Close to it. So, yeah, so we saw that on the JE. And if I look at the putty really close, I don't know if you guys can see. I'm going to just change the lighting here a little bit. See if you can see. I can see it from where I'm looking. You know what? There's one right there. You see that little, like, rectangular shape where it's not quite as I don't know, maybe that's the imprint left over. So yeah, I don't know if this would be a good putty long term either, but I'm trying to figure out if it feels stiffer or not. No, I mean, it's still pretty soft. I don't think it has changed consistency or anything like that. Just cut this area off and toss that little bit there. We don't want cross-contamination of our putties that we test. Like, I wasn't even trying to buy this one. I was trying to buy the 13.5 because I saw a sweet deal on Amazon and I was like, ooh, I better get more of that. But now I'm wishing I just ordered more on AliExpress because it's just as cheap there. And yeah, it's not 2-day shipping, but it's like 12-day shipping to Canada, probably the US as well. I know Europe has hard times getting access to a lot of the AliExpress putties, so. But that's okay, there's other sources of putty. Luckily, you've got DigiKey. I'm not sure if Mauser ships internationally or not, but DigiKey definitely has some great putties available, specifically T-Putty 607. And hopefully we'll get some T-Putty 910 in at some point. So I'd really like to test that out. So yeah, we've put this stuff back in the 8 watt per meter Kelvin container. Yeah, Alvidas Joko Baskas. I wonder when they will create 20 watt putties. It's, you know, that's a great question. I think it's going to be a challenge. And I look forward to that day too, and I hope it comes. But there's a certain point at which the viscosity becomes difficult to... Well, it's going to be a higher viscosity with higher watt per meter Kelvin ratings. Not that we trust the ratings, but like actual performance, it's going to be a thicker putty, which maybe we'll get there. You know, with the right additives, we could probably get there, but it's just the cost effectiveness. Okay, guys, so I'm taking off TGPP10. All right, and we're going to save it in a TGPP10 container that's really old. Yeah, TGPP10. This is the first little container I bought, and it's all empty now, but I've saved the container. So we're just going to put this putty in here for now. We're going to clean up the card, and then we are going to... You know, this one's kind of got a bit of wastage there. That one interacted a lot. I'm going to just toss that piece. So when I reassemble the card, I'll be using this exact same TGPP10. We're just going to add a little bit more also of old stuff and roll it into little logs. And then we'll put it on the card, dry fit it, make sure it's compressing nicely, and then go back to testing from there. And I'm doing this so that we can test liquid metal and LMTG 100. So I'm really curious what those are like. And then we'll get into... I'll probably do a baseline of like normal thermal paste first, I guess. And for this testing, we'll be using thermal pads on the VRAM. A couple reasons why. It's going to be a lot easier to not have to reshape as much putty each time. And yeah, I think we'll just get some good consistency there. Alright, so Evan Bunch says, oh yeah, sorry, the metal is scratched quite a lot. It is. I've cleaned this card dozens of times now, so it's sort of, it's had some wear and tear for sure. More than most cards ever will. I don't think you guys are going to be tearing apart a card 30-40 times for fun, so. But hey, if you do, welcome to the club. Just gotta figure out what I'm gonna do here. We're gonna go like this. Grab some of these guys. Plop them down. You know what? Before I clean this, I just need to take some up-close photos of those little bake patches, because that's a fairly... Oh, sorry guys. That was probably pretty loud. It's a fairly new thing. Good. Here we go. Evan Bunch says T-Putty 910 is the brand new release, right? Yeah. I haven't seen it for sale. I have contacted Laird, and they are looking at my request, and they know who I am, and I was very upfront that I would be, you know, testing it and making a video, and that I'd be happy to buy it from them. And we'll see what they say. They're probably having an internal discussion. I mean, I would as a company, right? You don't just want someone testing your stuff unless you're really confident that it's good. So I think it will be good. And yeah, we'll see what they say. If not, I will have to wait until it's more publicly available on places like DigiKey, and then at that point I would buy it. But if I can buy it directly from them with full disclosure, I would prefer that. But hey, I also don't mind, if I have to, waiting until it's available elsewhere. So we'll test it eventually. It's just a matter of when. We're going to test as many putties and pads as we can. Should probably close Discord so it doesn't make more noises like that. And Steam. Alvidas Joko Baskas TGPP10 TGPP10 that there is no more. Yeah, so I still have enough to use on this card consistently on the VRMs and stuff. And that's what we're never changing that putty. We're only changing the stuff that's on the VRAM just to eliminate any other variables. Like I am focusing on the VRAM temperatures during these tests. Now, when we test the core stuff with liquid metal, LMTG, then it'll be a core-centric test. And then we'll have the same TGPP10 on the VRAM, or sorry, on the VRMs. We'll be using the exact same pads for all of those tests and eliminating any variables that way. Basically, we can't change two things at once. That's my thought. And the core contact patch looks pretty good. See if that autofocuses there. And there. Kind of see a good central contact. Just going to get a bulk of the paste off this way. And then we are going to use a scrub brush here right away. And actually this time I'm going to disconnect. Let's go to overview. We'll disconnect the RGB and the fans. It's not something I often do. Just because it can be difficult. Evan Bunch, Tech Ingredients, did a video making their own thermal paste. Has some good info on there. May help when modifying putty. Yeah, Tech Ingredients. I'll have to check that out. That's a YouTube channel, I assume. I'm just going to open up Firefox and get Googled so I don't forget. Tech Ingredients. Tech Ingredients. Nice. Cool, so I've got that. saved there. But you know what I need is a toothpick. Guys, I'll be... And we're back. All right, so I just ran up to the kitchen, grabbed a couple toothpicks. It's good coffee. Definitely hitting the spot today. So sometimes putty gets in these little crevices and builds up a little bit. So we're just going to use very gentle force. Just sort of pick it away a little bit. I should get some like dental floss. You know, they say you're supposed to floss your teeth every day. And maybe we should be flossing our video cards once a year, but I'm just kidding. I don't think I would recommend doing that. So I don't find, in general, this kind of putty where it's a bit more... I think I overused the term clay-like, but it's not super messy, sticky like a paste, which those of you that have used some putties kind of understand. I don't find this difficult to clean up. Yes, it is definitely messier than most thermal pads, as long as they're not baked on. But I would argue that once they are baked on, which I'm sure some of you have experienced, pads are just as difficult to scrub and clean, especially on the back sides, or the back plate where they're covering all the little SMDs, surface mounted devices. Got to get used to the lingo. I can see there's even a little bit on the back side that's pressed through, so we'll be sure to clean that up as well. Okay, we're gonna save as much of this as we can, because it's still good. And if you don't believe me, you just wait. These socks on. I need to buy some full-size gloves that are not those heavy, thick black ones that I've got. Okay. So, stuff is still malleable, even though it was in a fairly hot spot there. So we're gonna save that and put it in our container to use another time. Evan Bunch says, sorry, should have specified. I think the video title is Make Our Best Thermal Paste Yourself. Ooh. See, that's the kind of tips that are awesome, right? Like, we can all do some of this stuff at home. I mean, if we're taking our cards apart and repasting them, what's stopping us from playing around with all sorts of different things? Thermal interface materials, guys are doing shunt mods and overvolting cards, and that's on the high end of like overclocking, when you're just trying to grab a few more frames per second or maybe a world record. I guess for the at-home user, it's usually the frames per second, maybe bragging rights for overclocks. You know what? I kind of shouldn't have used this brush. I'm going to go grab one more of these. Just a sec. All right. Sorry, guys. Stepped out there for a moment. So I'm just going to shorten this up really quick with the scissors. Cutting it right about there. All right. Let's get this thing scrubbed up here. I suppose before we do, let's look at the current state of the card. So I realize autofocus is not going to work great right now, but you can see all around where the VRAM is, the conformal coating has been scrubbed away just from multiple scrubbings. And on this one, I don't really have any where the VRM is, which is fine. But we're just going to be protecting around this area here. So I'm going to get the light back on for you guys. We'll turn that off because it's kind of a little bit hard to look at. And we're back. So we are going to... Right, I'm just going to remove the plastic frame here. Clean that up as well. Just going to scrub away. These brush bristles are fairly soft. You could also use a toothbrush. Preferably an old toothbrush. I don't think you want to use the one you're using to clean your teeth. I don't think you're supposed to eat thermal putty. I haven't tried it yet, but man, I've been tempted. Especially at middle of the night, I wake up and I'm like, ooh, I could go for a snack. What do I have a lot of? Thermal putty. I'm only kidding. I would never consume thermal putty. And if I did, I wouldn't tell you guys. Good times. I don't think I'll have to open up the back of this card in this scenario. I'm just going to leave that still. That still has TGPP10. It's funny, I thought about upgrading the standard putty that's everywhere else on the card, but if I do that, I basically have to redo all the testing. So if we get to a point where I make a change to the test bench, we can maybe look at changing out the putty that we use. I'd probably end up going with I'm not sure, something that's not going to be discontinued anytime soon, and something that's not super sticky. It has to be easily reformable by hand or using the little spatulas. But for now, we're just going to keep using TGPP10. Clean the brush a little bit. That's quite a bit of fluid, so I'm going to use a paper towel and just try and get most of it off that way. I'm going to apply light pressure. Probably kind of boring to watch. Sorry about that. But we're going to get to the conformal coating pretty soon here. At which point I'm going to be letting the card dry or cure for 24 hours. Which will take us, well, for me, we're sitting at 1 p.m. right now, thereabouts. So tomorrow I could potentially be applying one of the pastes. I'm probably, I don't know, I'm a bit torn. I think, well, I should probably do a normal paste first. So we'll do MX4 because I have tons of that, and that'll be our baseline. And then I'll be building all of my tests off of that. But if I just do liquid metal as the first test, then we don't really have anything to compare it to. And in the case of liquid metal, I'm a little hesitant to use it as the first one. I think I'm going to try LMTG 100. And that's partially because liquid metal is supposed to sometimes like seep in. Well, I guess it's not a copper surface, it's nickel plated. So it should actually be fine. But it's also the more conductive of the two. So I'm probably going to want to watch a bunch of videos before I actually put that on there. So I have never used liquid metal before. Have you guys used liquid metal? And if so, what's your experience been like? Was it on a GPU, or is it most people just put on the CPU, I believe? Okay. Be happy over here. That's. I can do a final clean of that area tomorrow before I reapply the putty. I think I'm just gonna do a little final clean here, and then we'll go for conformal. Evan Bunch says, liquid metal can still stain nickel as well. Save liquid metal and diamond for last. Yeah, that's my... And I wasn't sure if it was going to stain nickel, but I'm pretty cautious about changing the surface in any way of the cooler and then affecting like later tests. Like part of me wants to get, I don't know, another cooler for this card, but then I'd have to redo all the testing. But I think if I do, and I guess my worry is, like, let's say I think most people are interested in the comparison between liquid metal and LMTG 100, or at least I've seen quite a few comments regarding that. And if I test liquid metal first, where it's going to be leaving a surface treatment or stain on the cooler, and then I do LMTG, well, is that getting the benefit of a pre-saturated liquid metal stain? And if that's the case, I need to test LMTG first to not help it out anyway by a liquid metal treatment. At least that's how I'm considering it. Evan Bunch says liquid metal is great, basically all I use for final build, though it's not great or on top of a large IHS. Now, is that due to the large IHS comment you made? Is that due to like warping of LGA type sockets where they have a hard time having perfectly flat contact? Or is there something else going on there? Does it pump out? Evan Bunch says, it's just such a large surface area. The benefits over paste isn't enough to... Okay, so when there's a large surface area, then... And the watts haven't changed. It's like there are 10 lanes on a big highway, and even if they're lower quality pavement, they can still handle all the traffic. But when there's only 1 or 2 lanes and smaller contact surface, then it needs the fastest road possible, which would be that metal, liquid metal stuff. So that makes, at least that's how I'm thinking about it now that you've mentioned that. That kind of makes sense. I wonder if that explains why in my previous testing between copper shims and aluminum shims, they ended up with the same performance. And we're going to be confirming that once we get to shim testing. That won't be for a little while. But I don't know, so far my previous results have still been a relatively good representation of the differences in performance between solutions. We're getting more accurate now, obviously, but so exactly, the smaller the surface, the bigger the gain. Okay, yeah, that's good to know. Yeah, I think pretty happy. There's a bit of discoloration here, but that is just the reaction of isopropyl on the previous treatment of the conformal coating. So I'm going to mute the mic here, and I'm going to use my my Metro Vac, yeah, and I'm going to blow this card off and just try and get it as clean as possible. All right. So I think we're just about ready here. Evan Bunch says, by the way, I liquid metal stain even on copper. The liquid metal stain even on copper seems to have no measurable effect on heat transfer. However, diamond paste will visibly etch both gold plate and silicon. That's good to know. I'll have to carefully consider whether I want to apply that icy diamond stuff to the GPU, or whether I'd rather sacrifice the nickel plating on a CPU. So I'm going to basically compare everything on, well, all the pastes and PCMs and liquid metal type stuff. I'll be doing it on the GPU, and I'll also be doing it on the CPU. So we'll basically have two test methodologies using the same test bench, only testing one thing at a time, and we'll be able to see if the CPU results match up with the GPU results. Okay, so we're going to apply MG Chemicals 422C. So you're going to focus there. There we go. Conformal coating, 55 milliliters. If you guys want to know about this stuff, you can find it on, well, let's see, I think DigiKey, among other places. And it does smell kind of like sweet nail polish. And all I've done is I bought about a bag of 100 of these little horsehair brushes. I think I got these off DigiKey. No, might have been Greg's or Ackland's. I'll double check, but so I will see if you guys want to probably do close-up cam. I'm just going to go for application. So this is not paint, by the way, and it's not meant to be painted on like back and forth, back and forth. The method of applying this is letting the brush soak some of it up and letting it flow onto the surface. And yeah, we're just gonna do that. If any gets on those little, well, on the core itself, or in a moment on the VRAM, all we have to do later on is scrub that area off using some Q-tips and isopropyl. So it's not a big deal if a little bit gets on the VRAM. And we don't necessarily want to get the screws, but I want to get around them. This stuff will act like a glue. And we'll go over and scrub the top of the VRAM tomorrow before application. So the only real benefit, Evan Bunches, that you found with Icy Diamond is that it is the only, excuse me, traditional paste that won't pump out on very small dies, which is a use case liquid metal really should be used. Oh, that's interesting, yeah. every day I'm learning more about thermal interface materials. I don't know about you guys, but I was tuning into that Fuji Poly webinar earlier. I posted a link on YouTube for that. And they were talking about automated application of thermal pads, which can eliminate operator error, which is usually what automation is used for. It's not always to increase production, but the robots can't skip steps. And that's the biggest benefit to automation, is quality control. But yeah, they were talking about pick and place from thermal pads, and so I found that interesting. Obviously, I'm trying to make it so that if any form of liquid metal drips out, or even the LMTG 100, and those little micro capsules burst, to see if any of it flows over the card, then I don't want it to short anything out. And I'm probably going overkill with this stuff, but I don't know, my thoughts are that this is cheap insurance, so why not? And in a second, we'll take a little look at the coverage here, see how we're doing. Make sure we've got a good first coat. Okay. T-Cell Tech. Joining the stream. Welcome to the stream, man. I don't know if we've met before. You just want to say thanks for these videos. They're exactly what I've been looking for several years now. Thanks. More people should know about thermal putty and different pace. I fully agree. Alvidas Joko Basca says, yeah, I learned about thermal putty from you a lot. Thanks, man. T-Cell Tech, you won't be using pads excuse me, anymore. Too much sensitivity in regards to thickness and compression. Even manufacturers can't keep everything perfectly within spec. Putty all the way. Man, welcome to Team Putty. You made it. Oh, it's a good place to be. Guys, I'm going to throw up a little... we're going to go to overhead cam. And I'm going to add... Oh, you know what? Go to overview, paste duplicate, and we are going to put that up there, and we're going to give it 5 minutes. Is that working? 5 minutes. No, it's not working for me. Properties. Yeah. Got that. I just wanted to... I'm not sure if I'll be able to get that working. Paste a reference. There we go. We'll delete this one. I think I can just go like that. So when this timer reaches 0, we'll do a second coat. I believe the minimum time between coats was, I think it was 3 minutes. So we'll take a look at the coverage. I don't know if this stuff cures under UV light, and I just want to avoid from stiffening up the brush, but let's take a peek at the card. I'm only going to flash this on for a couple seconds because it's kind of blurry, but I'll turn the light off here and we'll go for UV. And I know the focus kind of sucks, guys. I'm sorry about that, but you can see I've even overlapped the edges of the VRAM. So yeah, I'll clean those up, right? But I'll probably take a picture here really quick with the first coat. And we'll get this light back on so that you guys don't have to stare at like a really blurry purple image. But I would call that a successful first coat. Yeah. So Elvitas Joko Basca says, LTT also kind of showed off their thermal putty, and I was not convinced. Are you saying LTT has their own thermal putty? Does that be... I remember they've got a K5 Pro video. I don't know if I've seen one with LTT with something they've actually made. Speedy, welcome to the stream. So, does the CX H1300 13 watt is much better than 8 watt? Most definitely. You know what? We have 2 minutes. Let me bring up that chart. We'll go over the data really quickly, and then we'll come back to here and put a second coat on. That way you guys can get the most out of this stream, hopefully. Okay, so I'm going to very gently put that card there. And we are gonna very carefully put this here. Now, let's see. I'm going to go to display capture. So you guys should be seeing my my other screen there. Okay. I'm just gonna go and open up test bench 2, 8 watt per meter Kelvin, ETH hash calc. See if this open up, you guys. So I already, let's just make sure it's pointing to the sheet. Yeah, it is. Good data. Yeah, so these are the numbers, and they're not great. We're going to also open up the chart. I pre-populated it, believing that my application would be full coverage, which it was. So open up the VRAM TIM chart, which, oh, I have to go escape. Yeah. We'll go update. And I'll minimize this. So let's go to, I'll populate the mark and Kapow results when I get a chance here, but let's just go over the ETH hash really quick. Oh, have I added it yet? Doesn't look like I've added it. Okay, let's do this now. So we're going to go here, and we've got... Oh yeah, I need to figure out the seller. That's what it was. We're going to go Control C. And I also need to change this one to 13.5 watt per MK. And we're probably going to have to make that a little bit smaller. This doesn't need all those spaces. All right, so, and I realize my minute is probably, but we're going to just quickly paste this in. So I go Control C, and I'm going to be pasting values. So, yeah, and we do rank it by the VRAM T delta. You know, that would look better if it was center height, like that. Anyways, so 62.8, we're going to put it right between LK Pro and OCP10. And I will figure out which store I bought it from before I upload these. Oh, we're going to delete that. Oh. So it's, you guys can see, right? Here we are with the 8 watt stuff, and all the way up at the top, we're seeing that 13.5. Now, if you go to Furmark, the 13.5, oh, I'll have to type that in, is actually at the top of the chart. Just shrink that down one there so it fits, and Kapow, we're going to mark that as well, 13.5 watts per meter Kelvin. So if we don't differentiate these, then a lot of people are going to buy the 8 watt stuff thinking that they hit the gold mine, and they're going to be disappointed, which sucks. So, yeah. So my general rule that I use is if the temperatures on the ETH test are decent, then I'll continue on with Furmark and Kapow, which are higher wattage, and just make the card a lot hotter and stuff. But if it's bad temperatures, like in the case of these three, then I didn't go and do other testing, because I don't want to break the card. There's literally no value in us cooking the card unnecessarily, especially with that boron nitride stuff. That stuff baked on rock solid. Yeah, it seems like that 8 watt stuff is trash, and it's unfortunate because I feel like there's going to be enough people that accidentally buy it, because even for me, the description on Amazon was saying 13.5, but in the pictures on the one that I bought, it had that 8 watt stuff circled. So let's go back to display capture here, and I'm just gonna eliminate the display capture. Just gonna put the keyboard back over there. Let's get the card over here. We're just gonna do one little flash real quick of that UV light. Oh yeah, good coverage. So let's go for our second coat. And this is a little safety lid. It's got a push down to start threading it. Actually see a couple spots where I might have, did I miss, or did that just dry? Maybe it dried that quickly. That'd be cool. I'll be cleaning anything I spill on top of the VRAM and core tomorrow. I'll be able to scrub that stuff off without too much difficulty. And with this stuff, I don't know if you guys are just joining, a few of you, but when you apply this conformal coating, you're not really painting so much as allowing it to flow onto the surface. Which, if you read the data sheet, it talks about application method there. So that'd be good to, you know, I'm just going to put some on on these 12 volt PCI Express power connectors, because why not? If a shim ever jumps out, gets against there, it's not going to go poof instantly. Hopefully. That's if this coating is thick enough, which I believe it will be. I was thinking of using a larger brush to paint or coat the larger areas, but I don't think I need to. This little brush is going to do just fine. This is probably like way overkill, but I don't know. I kind of like it. I don't know what you guys think. You're like, what is he putting on his card? Conformal coating, my friends. Conformal coating. Plus, don't you want it just to all glow once I turn that UV light on? Like, that's got to increase frames per second by at least 5-10%, right? That RGB glow. Now, one thing you don't want to get this stuff on is the actual connectors where something plugs in, like these fan headers, because this would potentially block, or realistically, yeah, it would prevent an electrical connection, and you guys wouldn't be spinning your fans very fast, if at all. Most likely not at all. I think this stuff was very expensive to buy for this 55 milliliter container. And as long as I keep this in a cool space away from UV light, it should stay fluid for quite some time. Yeah, I think. Do a little bit more over here. Oh, and I didn't say it yet. Welcome to the stream, Daniel M. Good to have you aboard. I think that is just about it. Yeah, we're going to call that good, I think. So I'm going to close that up. Actually, let's set this to excuse me, sorry guys, I'm gonna go 15 minutes. I should shrink that down just so it's not annoying. Daniel says UV green glow gives 8% more frames per second, and yellow 10. Man, I've got to get some yellow stuff. I'm all after that 10%, yo. I'm gonna clean this little contact frame. And my thoughts are, I believe I'm going to put this on right now, just on the off chance that the conformal prevents, like, forms in place and prevents this from seating all the way down, which I don't want to happen. I don't want to have happen, so. And I'm not too worried. I'll be able to get this off later using a little pry tool. I'm not concerned about that. I could even get another of these contact frames if I really had to. Even if I had to buy one of my friend's Zotac 3070 Ti amp hollow editions. I'm sure they would sell it to me, so. Gonna make sure the corners are clear. Using a toothpick. So you don't need any Kapton tape at all after this cures. That is my belief, yes. That this is going to negate needing to have any of that Kapton tape, which I think is a bonus. There are a couple liquid options that you can go with. So this is basically the equivalent to nail polish, but with its purpose being specifically for electronics, whereas nail polish is meant for nails. And I know a lot of people use nail polish, including Der Bauer and many others, to good effect. But hey, if you can use a product that's actually designed specifically for this, then why not? I can already see a bit of a problem. I've got a little bit around the corners that has slightly cured, so I'm just going to try and very carefully have a damp Q-tip. It's not soaking wet. And we're just going to clean around the corners just a little bit. I think I'm pretty happy with that. I don't believe this has an orientation. Maybe it does. Oh, wow. I'll most likely... I guess I could do that. Check with calipers here. And this is not my nice set of calipers, unfortunately. So if it loses 0, I'll just have to test it again. So 0.82. See if we can get that again. .79, 0.78. Yeah, see, it just lost 0. That sucks. And the battery is low. Okay, I promise I'll measure this before... Well, we can do it tomorrow. Man, I feel like I'm going to have to buy another set of Mitutoyos. We'll see. We'll see if I can get my set back. I left it somewhere on a job, so I just got to see if I can... If they tossed it or if someone grabbed it or what. Who knows? Daniel M says, so which putty is next? That's a good question. So I don't currently have any other putties on hand that I can test. I could retest stuff, but I want to leave that until after we've spent quite a bit of time already doing putties, and I will return doing probably the top 5 to 7 or 8 or whatever putties, but I want to test out liquid metal and LMTG100 because there's been quite a few people that have been eager to get those results. We'll see how that does, and then while we're doing that testing, I'll probably put a vote out and we can let you guys decide which 2 putties we want to boost or try boosting with diamond powder. We have, let's see, we've got 2 little packets of diamond powder. So this is 25 carats, which is 5 grams of synthetic diamond powder, techdiamondtools.com. I bought this off Amazon. No, we won't be testing liquid metal on the VRAM. I'll be using, basically, I'm just going to pick a thermal pad, a standard thermal pad to use on the VRAM, and I'll be testing the core with LMTG100, with liquid metal, and we'll do a couple pastes in there right off the hop. After we do that, hopefully we'll have settled on which 2 putties we want to boost. I think we've decided we're going to do a top end putty and a lower end putty, and we'll see what you guys think as far as what we want to do there. While that's drying though, let's just check to see if this is real diamond powder or not, because it could just as easily be, because typically this is used as an abrasive. But if they sent me, what's that stuff called? My mind just went, cubit zirconium, or sorry, cubit zirconia is sometimes sold instead of diamond powder. It's cheaper, and so the manufacturer is hoping that all you're going to use it for is just an abrasive, and it'll still work as an abrasive. In our case though, cubit zirconia does conduct electricity and is horrible at conducting heat. So it would actually probably make things worse performance-wise and potentially cause damage. But actual diamond powder, whether it's naturally occurring or synthetic, as long as it's a high purity, doesn't conduct electricity at all and is excellent at conducting heat, to the tune of, I believe it's a range of, was it 600 watts per meter Kelvin all the way up to 3200 watts per meter Kelvin. So it's incredible stuff. This being synthetic, it should be around that 2000 mark. Daniel M says, I'd love to see the HY23X putty. Yeah, whether it's the 3.6 or the... Well, I don't have the 234 on the way, but we're definitely going to test those when they arrive, which will, yeah, hopefully be in the next week or so, I think. But let's let's do a quick little continuity test. K5 Pro could use a boost. You know what? Like, it probably could. Let's just take a look at this chart here for a split second. Display capture. Yeah. So I would say on the bottom end, we should try and boost one of the bottom 6 or 7. I'm not going to do that boron nitride stuff, by the way. That bakes solid, so maybe in the future, but that's not going to be the candidate for sure. But we could vote on what you guys want to do with those bottom 5 or so, 5 or 6. I'll include, well, 7. I'll include TGPP10, TH930. Yeah. The light poly is way too stiff already. The 855, that's kind of middle pack. So we'll let you guys vote on that. And then we'll also pick a top performing putty. I'm hesitant to allow EVGA to be boosted because I only have so much of that stuff and I don't want to contaminate any of that. I think we need to save that for future testing. I'll probably only do putties where I have enough or can still buy it, I think is important. So let's go back to overview. So I've got it set to continuity. It's going to make a beeping sound for me. But what you guys will see is, what you should see is the resistance, I believe, in ohms, which is that little there. So right now I hear a beep when I'm touching metal to metal. And, you know, if we touch a little metal handle, it's going to do the same thing. Ooh, there's a good coating on the back plate. So, I wonder if they have a nitride or if that's a phosphate. I'm not sure. So my thoughts are, let's see if we can not make too much of a mess here. But, you see that? Oh, that's not going to focus. It's just a gray powder. You know, it reminds me of aluminum. So I'll try and get that on camera a bit better. So I think the hard part of testing a powder is you're always going to wonder if the airspace between the particles is acting as an insulator. What I should do... Oh, interesting. Wow. That is super fine. That's cool. Interesting. Yeah, I think that's going to be awesome. Let's see. I mean, that shouldn't... I guess it's safe for me to test when we do go to boost because we should see a performance increase. If we see a performance decrease, then that would tell me that it is fake. And if it increases, which we're hoping it does, and it should, logically, then it's probably the real deal. Evan Bunch says, anodizing. Yeah, that makes sense. It would be most likely an anodized thing. Daniel M, yeah, you could try it on 8 watt and 13 watt. Oh, that'd be interesting. That'd be interesting considering they're the same, like in the same line of product by that manufacturer, basically. So, I'll probably end up getting a few more of those little packets, or if I can find a bulk source, then we could even go as far as weighing it out. And I think we'll apply, or we'll use it to boost approximately 7 cc's of putty. If I go by weight, that's unfair in a way because there'll be different volumes based on their density. If we go by volume, then we're kind of keeping things consistent. I don't even know if it matters that much. We're really just seeing if we can boost it or not. But hey, you might as well have a system of, or a methodology that we can agree on is a decent one. Magikarp, welcome to the stream. 20C difference between hotspot and GPU temperature. Is it normal? Let's take a look. Are you talking about the ETH hash chart? We can take a look at that real quick. It's a bit high. I'll just bring the chart up here. Okay, so you're asking about the hotspot and GPU temperature. So here we've got in this column hotspot, okay, and GPU temperature. So it's 10 degrees Celsius there difference. And this is in a non-core intensive test apparatus or method. If we go to Fermark and we look at core T delta, we're in the 40s, well 39, and we're mid to high 40s. So we're looking at 10 to 8 degrees, 9 degrees or less difference. If we go to Kapow, so this would be core intensive, less memory, which shows up on our temperatures. Go to Kapow, our core T delta over ambient versus this. So we're looking at 12 degrees plus or minus. So I think that's pretty consistent. Now, if you were talking about at the bottom here, well, that's still just 10, 11 degrees. Are you talking about your own card, Magikarp? Or not Magikarp, Magyarp. Hopefully I'm not butchering your name, and I'm really sorry if I am. Yeah, 20 Celsius, even on all of my tests, doesn't exist, so it would be good to reapply. Yeah, I mean, normal temperature, idle temperature are same, but in gaming. Okay. I wonder if you've got dry paste or whatever. Oh, 5600 XT, your GPU. Yeah, and that's... I'm trying to think if those have memory temperature sensors or not, but yeah, that would be your... basically your core hotspot, I assume. Or maybe somewhere else on the card. I guess it's supposed to... I think it's supposed to take the hottest sensor, but it doesn't on NVIDIA cards because the hotspot is never lining up with the VRAM temperature at all. So it ignores VRAM and says, hey, you've got your own sensors. I'm going to focus on what the rest of the card, which would, I assume, would be including power delivery. But I could be wrong. Core, yeah. So Evan Bunch says on that card, I would expect a little less than 20 degrees Celsius with a good paste. Yeah. Definitely worth looking into. It might be something where you want to look into... Excuse me, sorry guys. You might want to look into using a phase change material sheet, and there's lots out there now. We've got Honeywell PTM 7950. We've got Honeywell PTM 7958, which is a paste form, which you're supposed to allow curing for 24 hours before you reassemble. There's Upsiren PCM1, which may or may not be a copycat of Honeywell. I'm not really sure, but it seems to perform equally for my previous test. We'll confirm that again, of course, on this new test bench. There's Thermalright Helios, which I am assuming is just a Honeywell clone, and it's possible they're buying directly from there. You can definitely do that, right? You could buy stuff from Honeywell. They're a company that makes things, and you could become a distributor under your own third-party label or brand. So that stuff happens all the time in the thermal interface material industry or marketplace. And then there's also layered, what is it? PCMT 7000 series, which is rated at 7.5 watts per meter Kelvin. And we've got some of that. So we'll be testing all of these phase change materials. We're going to buy a bunch of pastes and test. We have some on hand, but I say we, I mean me. I'm a lone wolf. I'm a one-man crew. But yeah, I think I'm pretty happy with the assembly of the card and leaving it like this in this state to dry overnight. Let's take a last little peek with the UV light. And yeah, I think we'll be able to clean up the VRAM pretty good. And you can see just like overlaps around the edges and corners. That's all going to clean up tomorrow. But the card seems pretty well protected. So when I use liquid metal and when I use LMTG100, I don't think we're going to have any issues with the card shorting out. And sorry if that's really bright on your eyes, guys, but yeah. So that, I'll eventually have better lighting and maybe even cameras and autofocus someday. Magyarp, okay, thanks a lot for your advice. I used GD900 thermal paste and the thermal putty in VRAM and other parts. What's your opinion on the GD900? Are you happy with it so far? I mean, I think I remember reading that it dries out fairly quickly, or let me go grab it real quick. I got some too. I'm not sure where my container of GD900 went, but I've got some 100 here, and I've got some 460. I definitely have another one with 900. I probably grabbed it on a previous stream, and I think that means I need to tidy up my my area. But the 100 would be probably the lowest rated stuff, I assume. Looks like a good spot. Oh wow. There's a light smell of somewhere between an oil and a solvent. But this is GD460, and it is definitely separated. A lot of pastes use silicone base oil. Sorry, I just like playing with stuff when you guys bring up different products. Might as well see what they're like on stream. A little bit. So this stuff is, wow, it's really liquidy. The gut says I should most likely just mix it up like this, not be changing the viscosity by removing the oil and then mixing, because that's not how this stuff was designed. The lower viscosity, the easier it has of squeezing out, but also the better chance of pump out. I mean, could you buy one of these, let it sit on a shelf for 2 years, pour off the oil, and then stir it up and have a higher viscosity of a paste with less pump out risk? Probably. But we're not going to do that with this container. And that's what happens when you buy stuff in bulk. It's going to have a better chance of separating. Manufacturers know this, so they're selling us typically little tubes. Well, and most people don't need to buy a big container like this. It's kind of a waste. But this is GD460. We could probably do a pretty cool test with this stuff. We could like use it for shims maybe, even though I prefer putty. We'll definitely compare it to a paste when we do shims. So, do I have MX6? Yes, I do have MX6. I've got MX4, MX6, Cryonaut, Conductonaut. What else do we have? Noctua NH PT1, well, number 1, whichever. We've got a few other ones. I probably have Arctic Silver 5 kicking around somewhere. We've got Kingpin KPX, and I'll have to get a few more, and we can test out all sorts of stuff. So that conformal coating, when I spill it onto this mat, there's actually little dots here and there. You might not be able to see them, but like right in here, there's like a really good... let's get the close-up cam. I'm not sure why the close-up cam's not showing. That's okay. Not a big deal. But it's definitely interesting stuff. You can see where you've... oh yeah, I've got some on my fingers a little bit. You guys see that right there? Probably not. That's okay. I don't know if you have a stick with the 4 for consistency, but I'd like to know if 6 is indeed better performing. Yeah, we'll definitely... excuse me. We'll definitely test both of them and get some comparative results on all that. And if you guys have suggestions of thermal pastes you'd like to see tested, there are dozens upon dozens upon dozens of pastes out there. But if you have one that you want me to test, and if it's like seems like a high performing one in other people's opinion, then we can definitely look at getting that. I don't think I'm going to test tons of like lower grade pastes or ones that people agree have problems or issues, but we'll test as many as we can, as we can feasibly afford. So yeah, I think that's it for this stream, guys. I'll be back tomorrow, and we're going to apply some thermal pads and probably MX4 do a baseline test, and then we'll go for LMTG 100. What I'll probably do is just a single test where I let it run. Let's see, what was I running? Oh my gosh, my mind is blank now. But we'll do a test and we'll just run it for maybe a fixed amount of time, probably 3-4 hours, and I'll be logging the data in real time, of course, with that. And then I'll chart it, and I'll show over the entire span where the temperature went, and then we can also zoom in on maybe hour number from the 1 hour mark to the end of the test, the 4 hour mark, and have like a 3 hour average as well. So different ways of looking at the data, and that'll allow us to compare it directly with phase change materials, which at the start are going to have a ramp like that. They're going to peak out and then gradually diminish over a 4 hour period, I'm hoping. So you guys have a great day, and McGarp, I will definitely get some icy graphite thermal pad 30 to test. Thanks for joining the stream, guys, and I will catch you on the next one.